In today's English listening lesson, I will read a story to help improve your English listening skills and then discuss the meaning of a few English vocabulary words you need to know from today's story. Well, hello, students. I hope you're having a fantastic day and welcome to another episode of Parlay with Jay. Today, I have an C-3 English listening practice video. Use this video to practice your listening skills. If you want to study my longer English lessons, use the links in the description. Today, I have a funny story I titled Annoying Text Messages. And this story is inspired by my life and probably many others as well. Tommy was fed up with all the phone calls and text messages he was getting about the upcoming presidential election. It seemed like every hour his phone would buzz with some new campaign message. One evening, after receiving 6 text messages in just 1 hour, Tommy finally lost his patience. In a fit of frustration, he threw his phone at the wall. The impact was so strong that it shattered his phone, forcing him to buy a new iPhone the next day. But that wasn't the end of his annoyance. The constant flood of election ads continued, and this time it was on his television. Every time he turned it on, it seemed like a new campaign ad was playing. Furious, Tommy grabbed the TV remote and hurled it at the television screen, breaking it. Once again, he had to spend money, this time on a new television. Even driving around in his car didn't give him peace. The radio was full of political ads and every station was running campaign commercials. He got so irritated that he started driving with the radio off, just to avoid hearing any more election-related content. Despite everything, the calls, texts, and ads continued. But Tommy learned to find small ways to cope with the endless political noise around him. Oh, before we get into these vocabulary words I want to review, can you relate to today's story? I am so sick and tired of all of these ads, texts, and phone calls. I am ready for the presidential election to be over. How many different angles can they talk about this? By now, people should know who they're going to vote for if they're going to vote. What a situation we have here in our country, but that's just how it is. And the more technology develops, I believe they will come up with creative ways to bombard us with campaign ads. To bombard means to overwhelm us with something. So let's talk about a few vocabulary words from today's story that you can study and practice using. The first one is annoyed, something that slightly angers you or irritates you. You know what annoys me? The cracking of knuckles. When people crack their knuckles, that is so annoying. Or when I'm around my wife and other women that pop gum in the side of their teeth when they're chewing, they're just crack, crack, crack. It's so annoying. But we all have pet peeves. Another vocabulary word is frustrated. Now, before I go over this, let me give you an example sentence on how you can use annoyed. You may say, I was annoyed when my little brother kept interrupting me, or the phone constantly ringing annoyed me. I knew it was my job calling for me to come in. Frustration, a feeling of anger caused by not being able to do something. Oh, that's so frustrating, because even when you block these phone calls, these text messages, they still text you and call you. That's what's so frustrating. You swipe and report the junk and they still keep sending you them. It's so frustrating. So you might say Tommy felt extreme frustration when his phone kept buzzing with campaign ads. Another vocabulary word, number 3, shattered. And that's when you break something into many small pieces. Have you ever shattered your phone? You dropped it by accident, or maybe you're like Tommy and you were so frustrated with a phone call or a text, you threw your phone at the wall, the ground, or at somebody. You broke it into many pieces. The glass shattered, you might say, when it fell to the floor, or Tommy's phone shattered after he threw it against the wall. Number 4, campaign, a series of activities or ads to achieve a goal, usually a political goal. Okay, so you're campaigning. Sometimes we use this word in a slang term. We may say, if you want something from someone, you got to campaign to get it. So you have to bother them. You have to keep inquiring. All right. Jay really wanted her phone number, so he kept campaigning to get her digits. Okay. Campaign. Or it's usually used when it comes to politics. So you might say the mayor's campaign focused on the homeless issues in the community. And finally, cope. Tommy had to cope or find ways to cope with his frustrations. So when you cope with something, you manage or deal with a difficult situation. So for instance, again, Tommy had to cope with all the election-related messages. Well, that's going to do it for today's quick English listening lesson. I hope you have enjoyed it. Can you relate? Let me know down in the comments section if you can relate to Tommy and today's story. As always, if you have been helped with today's English lesson, all I ask is that you share it with a friend that they can also improve their English. Hey, my name is Jay. I have longer English lessons here on YouTube. Check the description on my YouTube channel. And as I always say, I hope you join me on my next English lesson.